I am putting myself in situations that should absolutely be sketchy as hell.
What about the whole like drug aspect of sex work?
There was like one uncomfortable situation.
I don't know why I'm surprised at that, because I feel like people
Porn is shitty, and that's how the industry is half the time.
It's Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first take with Jackson. Hold it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
I was so excited because I had found you when I was going to Salt Lake City. You were in the area, I guess, then. It just didn't work out, but here we are in Palm Springs.
Hey, yeah. I've been visiting Salt Lake City about every month, on and off.
How's the business in Salt Lake City for you?
It's hit or miss. Since I've been going back to that city repeatedly, the fresh meat factor has worn off. So like the first 2 or 3 times that I went there, it was always like, oh, there's someone new in the city. Like I have to like book him now. He'll never come back. Or like it's slowly dwindled over time. So it's like I have 5 or 6 consistent bookings that I know I'll be able to make every time I go there. Other than that, it's slowly been less and less people reaching out every new time I go.
So that is kind of why you're on this tour right now, right?
I'm just doing this because when I'm in Denver, I have a roommate, so I don't typically host on my own.
What are the places you're hitting in this trip?
So I drove from Denver, and then I went into Salt Lake, down to Phoenix, and then I'll be doing Palm Springs right now. Then I'll drive to San Diego for a couple days, back up to San Francisco, and then one night in Sacramento, and then back to Denver. I rarely set myself like as available on the websites. Like there's an option that says like, hey, this person is available for the next X amount of hours. I've just been like so slammed with bookings in advance, and that I've just kind of been like, I'll get there day of, and then I'll just pack my day.
I've wondered about that. So, because if you're doing your traveling, your touring situation, to pay for travel, to pay for hotels every night, you are having to obviously book more or charge more in order to equal out what you would make elsewhere.
I mean, I don't change my rates actually.
But do you have to take more clients in order to equal out the charges of like the hotels and the traveling and stuff?
Not really. I just kind of, when I do travel and everything, I'm just packing as much in as I can, basically working my body to its fucking limit if I can. The more the merrier. I mean, like within reason. Like if I can't sexually perform, I'm not gonna like book a client or anything unless they're like, I just need a massage, in which case I'm like, just to be clear, you only need a massage, like, because I can't perform otherwise. And they're like, yes, that works. I'm like, great. So normally my body's limit, I try to say, is either like 3 massages and a workout, or 3 massages and an escorting client, or what have you. I started escorting roughly 3 years ago.
How did that happen?
So I was working in a deli, and my coworker, who is a rambunctious human being, we were just joking one day about like escorting and stuff, and I was like, I mean, I think I'm technically like at the point where I am stereotypically attractive enough that I could do it. And we were joking back and forth, and he was like, oh no, you absolutely wouldn't do it. And I'm like, no, I'm thinking about it, like the efficiency of pay and everything, like it really does sound like it would be cool. And he was like, no, you wouldn't. And I just went home, made a profile, and then like a week later I had my first client. I remember my first like 3 or 4 clients were kind of stereotypically what you would imagine. Older gentleman that's just like lonely for whatever reason. One was married, one just like couldn't be out for whatever reason. One had like a physical effect that he was dealing with. Each client, you kind of have to figure out either from background experience, through how they talk in text, or from what they say they're looking for, what they're really looking for. Like, are you saying that you need raucous sex when you actually just want to like sit there and cuddle for like an hour? And that's fine. Like, I obviously am not going to charge someone for the fucking full price if they just want to like come in and cuddle for an hour. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm not going to be a shitty person.
Is this discussed though before you meet up with them? Like, what are you looking for? These are the prices for cuddles. These are the prices for sex.
No, I don't. It's just time. I'm just selling time. That's all I'm doing. I get their texts. We kind of exchange in the like most, not vague way possible, but like, you know, evading technical like law enforcement possible traps, which I've never had an issue with, because in all fairness, like I'm also a man. Very different world of sex work for men and women. Very, very, very different.
Why do you feel like that?
The danger. I am not unaware of the fact that I am putting myself in situations that should absolutely be sketchy as hell and should be unsafe, but because I know what I'm doing, I have a specific set of privileges, like I'm fine.
And you've been doing it for 3 years and you haven't found yourself in any scary situations or things where you're like, wow, what am I doing?
There was like one uncomfortable situation where I was like, this guy is not taking care of himself as evidenced by like your home, and I just like felt uncomfortable, and I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Here's your money. Sorry. I'm not your guy for you. And that's like the closest thing I've had to danger.
What about the whole like drug aspect of sex work? Like, do you find yourself
Steer the fuck away from anyone who has like drugs and everything. Like, you can tell. You can always, or at least for me, gut instinct is pretty key. I think with most people can like kind of feel out clients and everything beforehand, just like via text. But if there's anything unsafe about it or something just like gives me an odd vibe, I know that I don't necessarily need that money or the client. So I'm normally just like, sorry, I don't think we're a good fit. Have a good night. So there was like one a couple nights ago who was like begging me to come over, and I was like, he said, do you smoke? And I was like,
smoke what?
Things.
Yes.
And it was like the way, like the rhetoric and like how he was typing and everything. I was just like, you're on some kind of drugs. I don't want to deal with you. Sorry. No. There was a time where I was originally going to stop doing sex work because, you know, I was graduating with a degree, and then it just didn't pan out that way.
Where did you grow up again?
I grew up in the suburbs of Colorado, of Denver.
Grew up in like a conservative household or religious household, or?
No, not really. It was just, parents were divorced. Dad probably shouldn't have been a parent. Mom was mentally ill and crazy aside from that. So it was like neglectful, occasionally like emotionally, mentally abusive, like not terrible. I still am me and grew up in like a household with a certain amount of privileges, but I'm also going to therapy.
When you came out, how did your parents react?
So by the time I had come out, I had basically like cut off contact with them already. I was kind of like my own human being and kind of in charge of myself at a point because they just weren't being parents. My brother had already come out as trans, so it didn't really fucking matter. Yeah. That's actually why I've been visiting Salt Lake like once a month. He was supposed to get bottom surgery in August, but then for whatever reasons he couldn't get it.
Does he know that you're a sex worker?
Yeah, totally.
And how does he respond to that?
He's like, neat, and I tell him what porn he shouldn't watch. So it's like if I like film with someone, I'm like, hey, don't watch Seattle Dad's videos anymore. Like I found myself on Pornhub 2 days ago, and I was like, oh, I forgot I encouraged you to put that up there, didn't I? And I was like, cool.
Wait, and how does that work when you collab with someone and they're because they're making money off the Pornhub videos then, right? But are you getting paid? It's just an even collab. Like then they'll film for your OnlyFans, you'll film for their OnlyFans.
The phrasing of that is kind of like what I deviate away from with OnlyFans and stuff. So there's a certain demographic of people that are like A-lister gays, like I'm going to look a certain way, I'm going to act a certain way, I'm going to do this kind of porn and only with these kind of people. And those are the kind of guys that have everything be like super transactional. The people that I try and surround myself with and film with, it's more of just like I'm going to help you out so that you help other people out. Like we can all kind of like, if I can do it, you can do it. Therefore, we should do it together. Not I'm only going to film with you if you have 100,000 followers and have X numbers. Like if someone approaches me and says, like in the first 5 messages, like asks any kind of statistics about my OnlyFans page, I'm just like, I don't give a shit about you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know this is a business for you, but like my entire niche, what I'm marketing towards is like, I am me. I'm going to show up genuinely. This is going to be personable sex, and you get what you get.
I don't know why I'm surprised at that, because I feel like people
porn is shitty, and that's how the industry is half the time.
Or just business, and it's like, you know, but I think it's beautiful that you look at it like from a stance of like, if I help you, then you help somebody else, and we're all gonna help each other, and everyone's gonna gain from this, you know?
Well, it kind of goes back to like the value system of why I'm able to like do this line of work. I am doing this not because I want to like make money or get validation from strangers. Like, don't get me wrong, please tip me, please validate me. However, if I wanted to do that, I could just do steroids and have an OnlyFans page that just shows like pictures of me or something. Like, you could do something like that otherwise.
Do you make more money on OnlyFans and just for fans or escorting?
I make like somewhere between an eighth to a quarter of my income from OnlyFans. About it, like 55K was my salary at I was making 45K at my lab job actually, and then an extra like 10K a year on average for the OnlyFans stuff. When I switched to escorting and OnlyFans, my income went up by like, I think technically 30 grand before taxes.
So you're making like 30 grand more than you made at your other job.
Yeah. It's weird to think about how much money I am making, and also the fact that I am not trying to maximize the amount of money I'm making right now. No.
Do you feel like you find yourself, and I don't mean this to be insulting, but do you think you find yourself when you're talking to your therapist talking about like issues you have with sex work, or do you feel like you don't carry that with you outside of work?
Not really. Sex work is like the most fucking tame and like stable thing. If someone asks me like, how are you able to like sexually perform with these people, clients? Mm-hmm. It's just like, well, I mean, the same as you would perform with anyone else. It's like, if you're super into a guy and say he has like a bit of a belly, but you're super into like muscly arms and they have muscly arms, then you just focus on the muscly arms. And for the most part, all of these clients are like relatively in like some way, shape, or form attractive looking. They just like don't believe it or don't have the other dynamics in their life that allow them to have these kinds of sexual experiences, for it being like, marriage or what have you. Basically what I'm doing is just capitalizing on the fact that I am a normal and not shitty person who is apparently sexy by some people's standards, even though I'm not my own type. And I'm gonna use that money to just build other people up and my friends around me and just live as calm and simple as life as I can with my friends. That's what I want.
You're such like a beautiful person. You just seem like a very wholesome person, which is not like I'm.
Try for that. I do try for that.
Then there are a lot of like wholesome people in sex work, so I don't mean to say,
totally.
but it's I always love meeting people like you, because it's like, wow, like you are just a wholesome guy who's just like enjoys what they're doing.
I like the fact that like for work I'm actually giving something of value to people and making a positive impact in their days. Like for the farmer in his 60s on one of my road trips who got his first kiss from me, for the slew of guys who's like virginities I've collected, but like given like genuinely good experiences when they could have had super shitty ones otherwise.
How long do you think you'll be doing it for? Do you have any idea of like where you want it to go or where you want it to evolve into?
Yeah. In an ideal world, what I'm trying to do right now is make enough money to move to Chicago and then pay off a little bit of my bills, like credit card debt. If I continuously get more attractive and meet more people and business grows, and then maybe I'll stop doing sex work and I'll just, stop doing escorting and I'll just do massage. Like if you're doing something that requires your body to be functioning in a certain way, whether it's like construction work, you need the ability to like use your hands. If your hands get broken, you need some kind of backup plan. Same thing for escort and everything. Like say I get an STI and I have to be off for like somewhere between 2 weeks and a month to make sure that I'm like actually negative. If I have to take that much time off and like I'm not working, if I don't have a backup plan, then that's a problem. But right now, OnlyFans and Just for Fans makes enough money to pay student loans and rent, so that works.
What is your favorite thing about being a sex worker?
Honestly, just the freedom to kind of not do what I want, but to plan my life around my values. So like getting to actually spend time with friends and family. I can at least like take 3 weeks to go see my brother. Now I can visit him once a month if I want. Which I'll start doing less now that he's doing better.
Well, this has been really fascinating. I appreciate and I love meeting you. I love your energy. You have a very like warm, enthusiastic energy about you, and I just feel like you look so happy with what you're doing, and that makes me feel so happy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good luck with the rest of your trip and your tour. Your traveling tour, man.
Yeah, I am a traveling tourman now.
Traveling makes you experience a lot, and that's beautiful.
Meeting all the clients and everything and listening to like life stories, that gives you good perspective and experience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Perfect. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.